Hi, I'm Phil Rude. I'm an independent comic book artist and writer, and I am currently just getting over a head cold, so this one's going to be short and sweet. Please excuse my voice. I am, this week, paying tribute to news that broke just today as I'm recording this, the death of the great actor Robert Duvall. So I decided to pay a small tribute to him in the way that I'm able to, and I tried to play Flight of the Valkyries on guitar. I'm just not good enough to play classical music. So I decided to draw him as Lieutenant Colonel Kilgore from Apocalypse Now, one of his most iconic roles, and one of my favorites, because Apocalypse Now is, I think, one of the great American movies. And I think that role in it is very unique. And Robert Duvall did this thing where he was able to kind of steal that movie. Its most iconic line is Robert Duvall's. He's in the movie for like maybe 20 minutes. I don't know. I haven't clocked it. I should watch it again, though. Anyway, I'm doing this piece on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of Bristol, Strathmore Bristol. And I'm doing it with G-nib, mostly. Doing the blacks, the spot blacks with Kuretake brush pen. All the ink is, I believe it's all Dr. P.H. Martin. My favorite ink. P.H. Martin Black Star Matte. I was using some of the Kuretake bottled ink a week or two ago, and it's shiny. It's not matte. It covers good. It is a nice sort of rich black that I like in my inks, but I don't really like the shiny finish on it. I like a matte black ink. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm particular that way. So I've not been using it very much. Anyway, so that's what I used on this. It is spur of the moment, and I am the first to tell you, I am not very good at likenesses. So this is really just sort of trying to capture the spirit of Colonel Kilgore and how much he loves to surf to the point where he will do it in an active battle zone. This piece is, like I said, meant to pay tribute to the now late, great Robert Duvall. And I just, I'm not like the foremost film bro or sort of film historian. I'm not going to claim to know Duvall's entire work history perfectly. I just know that whenever I saw him in a movie, he's great. He's one of those guys who is of that school, kind of got big in the 70s doing work with Coppola and The Godfather. And he just was always solid. He's in all these great movies. You look at all this stuff in the 70s. He did both Godfathers and he did Apocalypse Now, all with Coppola. And it's like just nailing these roles, even in like The Godfather, his role is Tom Hagen. He's the sort of adopted brother and the family lawyer. And it's like this sort of smaller role. It's a quieter role. And he's just perfect in it. He's one of those guys who's just like, I think he always impressed me because no matter what he had to do, he did it perfectly. He understood the assignment, as the kids say. He knew what he was playing. He knew the movie he was in. Even when he was in like bad movies later on, like he's in like Days of Thunder, the Tom Cruise race car movie, the Bruckheimer, sort of pre-Michael Bay movie, about stock car racing. And he's in that. And that's not a good movie. It's just objectively not a good movie. But he like understands the movie he's in. He's having fun and he's still like playing the role and delivering a solid performance. And I think that's the kind of thing, like we talk about the death of the movie star. now. And it's the kind of thing you just kind of go, that's what like a real pro, and that's what made somebody like Robert Duvall famous. I just want to shout out, in addition to like all of his work with Coppola, and of course, Days of Thunder. He showed up in some other movies that I loved, which were like Falling Down, came out when I was in high school, and he plays a cop in that. And I think at the time I didn't really understand who Robert Duvall was, or like how important he was as an actor. But that was one of the first places I probably saw him. Great movie, great role, actually. Like he's such a interesting character he built for that, and he plays it really well. And then Lonesome Dove, of course, in the TV miniseries with Tommy Lee Jones. He's great in that. And then another Western he played later on that I still think is sort of like an underseen Western. I'm not going to like pretend like nobody knows this movie, but I just feel like this is a really overlooked movie. It's called Open Range. It's a Kevin Costner. I believe Kevin Costner directed it. And he and Costner play these like free range cowboys who get attacked by like local ranchers. It's a great movie. It's one of the like the sort of like neo westerns of the early 2000s. That was sort of like not quite deconstructionist. It was just a newer era Western, and it's one of the really good ones that came out of there. And it's one that I feel like a lot of people have forgotten about. Anyway, Duvall's great in that. Just a great actor. Really, he was 95, I think. And of course, like a few months ago, like we lost Gene Hackman, and you just in recent weeks, Rob Reiner and Catherine O'Hara, and it's sort of like all of these sort of people who have been around, and all of these people like predate my existence. These people had careers like when I was born. So these are people who have just sort of like always been around in my lifetime. And it's like, well, of course, age, it starts to take people, especially when they get into their 90s, like Hackman and like Duvall. But it still is sort of like, oh, when one of them dies, you kind of go, oh, that was an important person in my movie appreciation process as I was growing up, because this person was always there. Someone like Rob Reiner he was a director more when I was growing up, and the fact that he was just always kicking out absolute bangers it's just sort of like it's easy to kind of lose sight of that until they are no longer here to do the work. So Robert Duvall, it just sort of hit me that way today that, oh, this guy was very, very important, because I also feel like he's just one of the all-time great kind of character actors. And, that's not to be overlooked. Robert Duvall was one of the greats. And he created some of the great characters like Lieutenant Colonel Bill Kilgore from Apocalypse Now, as I've drawn him here. Only better. Anyway, that's going to do it for me this time. I just wanted to pop in with this real quick and say we lost a great one. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, take care of your communities, and especially the most vulnerable people in them. They need your help. Until we meet again, I will talk to you later.